Oh, hi there, and welcome back to British Skylines. We're here in the county of Cambridgeshire, in the town of Great Gamington, and this is episode 11. Now, in this episode, we're going to focus on education. We're going to be following on from the previous episode, whereas if you watched that, we actually started working on some services for the town. So we had a fire station, a medical clinic, and some houses and stuff. Let's say this one, we're going to be working on education. So at the moment, you can see we've already placed down 2 items. We've added the UK primary school, which is made by Rick 4000. It's actually the same one we used in episode 1, but we're going to be decorating it a lot more detailed this time, and it's going to look really good. You'll see that shortly. We're going to work on that as we speak. I also placed another one down as a secondary school, or sort of high school as the Americans would call it. Although I'm not a fan of that one, I actually do change that later on, and we're going to go for a different model. So we'll talk about that later on. So, like I say, for the time being, we're just working on this primary school, and as you can see, we've added a car parking space and allowing some obviously space for all people to park when they come in, and trying to section it off. I wanted to try and make it feel more like a real school. The one we did in the first episode, as much as it was fine at the time, I look back at it now, I'm not impressed. It had some work to do. So this one we're getting some walls around it, we're getting some gates and stuff, and we'll just do some sort of decoration around the actual grounds. Most of it is going to be focusing on obviously the outside, around the back, but we do a little bit on the front as well. Now, the reason I wanted to focus on education, it's like I say, we're trying to work on the services. At the moment, the city is having a few issues, to say the least. We're trying to get the population growing, but it doesn't seem to be working. And probably my fault, well, entirely my fault. I've not put anything in place. It's just I'm trying to put all the buildings in and forgetting everything else. So we're trying to play a bit of a catch-up, go back the right way. And because the thing is, we keep getting people in. Every time I put houses in, we get new people, but then they seem to leave. And we're just obviously not making them happy enough. So let's say we've got the basic services in last episode. We're doing the education this episode, and we'll see how it goes. And maybe we'll figure out and do some more in the next episode. But I thought while we're working on education, it'd be a nice bit of fun perhaps to talk about how the education system works in the UK, because I'm sure a lot of you are watching from overseas, and it's different where you are in the world. And I don't profess to know a lot about other countries' education system, but I do know this education system because I went through it, and I've made it through the other side. So we have quite a complicated education system. You start off, at 2 years old, you can go to nursery school, and you sit there for 2 years. 2 to 4 years old. You don't have to go. It's not compulsory. Some parents do. Some parents don't. It's just it depends up to them. But then you start going to the higher levels. So at 5 years old, we call it reception class. It's basically 1 year, and you get. I think you get there at 4 and turn 5 in reception, if my maths is correct. And then you go to infant school. This is, in my opinion, where proper school starts. You're there from about 6 years old till about 8 years old, and you start learning stuff. You're not just playing on the floor sort of thing. You're actually doing stuff. You're actually being taught stuff, proper stuff. And then once you've done that, you're off to primary school. So primary school, I think, would be it's quite a low education. You're looking at sort of 8 to 11 years old. Once 11 years old, you sort of move on to the big school, which is secondary school, or as the US would call it, probably high school. You sit there, and I remember going to my first day on primary school, walk to school, and it was huge, massive compared to the little school I was going to. We got a big a big secondary school for all the different primary schools in the town, and it was very, very overwhelming, but it was great. It was good fun. So usually you'd then sit there till 11 years old till 16, and at 16 years old you've got options. You don't have to do anything. I think, actually it's different. When I was at school, you could leave school at 16, but now you have to be 18. So you could go to either sixth form or college, either one, and that's between 16 and 18 years old, and it just have to stay in education. And then once college as well, I should say, is different to the college in America. What in Americans call college, we call university, which is the next step, 18 on. And some people are there for 2 years, some 3, some 5 years, depends what you're doing. You learn lots of different stuff. But it's quite I think quite a good system. We at the early stage, they call it key stages, key stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Early stages, you don't have any choice about what you learn. You just basically learn the curriculum of the education in the area that you're in. But once you start getting about halfway through secondary school, so you're probably around about 13, 14 years old, you start choosing lessons and subjects that you want to learn, and not just the stuff that they want you to learn. So you can pick, I don't know, between history or geography, or you might pick a science, or you might pick an art, or a practical lesson like cooking or woodwork, for example. And then as you go further, obviously you can then reduce those down to other lessons later on. So I think when you get to sixth form college, you're looking at 1 to 3 subjects, and that's it. You do it for, I think I did sixth form and I started with 3 subjects, and by the time I finished I was doing the 1 main subject, and that was it. I didn't go to college. I didn't need to. Didn't go to university. I stopped there. That was enough for me. 18 years old, go out to work. But it's a good system. I know it's different to other people. So if you're watching this from around the world or in a different place, what's the education system like for you? What age do you start? What age do you finish? What age are you allowed to go and get a job? And what was your favourite part of education? If you're still in education, what is your favourite part? Wow, I get distracted very easily. So as I was just going on a bit of a tangent, you've obviously been watching me do the primary school, and I think it turned out quite well. And I've added a few little houses as well. I've decided this time I'm going to start. Because we're going to have so many houses in the city, and it's going to get very tedious watching me do all the houses, I'm going to start doing a little bit here and there, and I might not do them all on camera. I'll just, you've seen houses. If you want to see a special houses one later down the line, we'll do more. But for the time being, we're just going to do the odd one here and there, and just work on it. As you can see there, we've actually just got rid of the secondary school, and I've replaced it with one by Combat Medic 02. Now, the main reason for changing was because the other one was just absolutely massive, and I think it's just too big for the area, and we've still got the asset, we can use it at some point, but I think, this one fits in a bit nicer. Now, this one, and obviously the other one, we obviously wanted to make it, it's not good enough just putting a building in, we have to decorate it, we have to make it look pretty and amazing, so obviously we start with the car parks, because people have got to get there, so just think practically. People are going to get there, they've got to leave their cars, whether it's teachers, parents, students. I mean, the students in the UK, you can drive at the age of 17, so there's nothing stopping anyone 17 plus driving to school themselves, provided they pass their test, obviously. But yeah, so we've got the car parking space. We did, well, here I've actually decided to make this into a bit of a park area. So using the in-game Park Life DLC. And I just wanted to do it because I wanted to try to encourage people to be here and use some of the facilities that we're going to add in a moment, but obviously you're just trying to work the space around and make it fit together. Again, I think it turned out pretty good in the end. Time will tell how it sort of develops, but now obviously we've got the basic shapes, like location of the school. It's just a case of trying to put the facilities around it. Now I wanted to actually add sports areas, different things. We'll see in a moment. We'll have some sports in there, but obviously some trees and just general like pretty areas. You know, I like putting trees and bushes in. So yeah, I mean, I keep saying I think it works pretty well. And I'm not going to say because this whole city, I'm kind of loosely basing it on where I grew up. Obviously, it's not true to the letter. I'm not making it exactly the same, but I'm just trying to make it similar. I'm taking ideas from my own personal life. So just trying to make it. I say the experience I have is the experience I have. So that's what I'm going on to make this. So you can see here we put some basketball courts down. No, tennis courts actually. They're not basketball. I was going to basketball, didn't bother. Got some tennis courts and a football pitch. Now there was a football pitch in the primary school as well, and neither one of these are like, because in America they're really big on sports, and you got like varsity teams and stuff like that. We don't really have that so much in sort of the UK, certainly in the lower education, maybe at college or something. I didn't go to university. I don't know what they do there, but yeah, it's not so much like massive stadiums and the entire town comes out. I think we had our school football team. The only people that came to watch it were the parents of the kids actually playing. It's not as big as the town football club or the city football club. So it isn't. I didn't want to make it massive. I didn't want to make it like a big song and dance, but it is just a small pitch, and there's just they'll go and do their sports on there sort of in the afternoons. So yeah, that's it. As for decorating, wanted to try and use these planters. They're quite good. They actually work as seats as well, so people can sit on them, and it just gets people in and doing stuff. And so put a tree in there as well, just to give it. We did use it in, can't remember which episode now. Housing Estate Part 2, which was episode 8, I believe, 7 or 8. We're using one in there, or a couple in there, and we just thought try them again because it just, like I say, it's a nice way to get people to come in, sit down, and just have people doing stuff. I can't stand having a city with nothing going on. That's part of the reason I'm getting all these services, because people aren't here and I need them to be here and do stuff. So a couple of plants there just to make it look a bit nicer on the outside. It's just, I don't know, I want it to look nice. It looks a lot nicer than the school I went to, let's put it that way. The school I went to was pretty much just a dull building, and then come along and everything's pavement. But I wanted to make it the school I wanted to go to in my head. Here we're adding some portable classrooms, and we used to call them mobiles. I don't know if they still have them. I don't know if it's still a thing, but I know certainly when I started school, we had a lot of them. A lot of our lessons were in them, and then over time they extended the school and had bigger, more classrooms, and you just started going inside. But thought I'd add that because for me it's something that I think is part of a school. It's a part that I actually, where I vividly remember having lessons in little portable cabins, and you do entire class there, and they'd be really hot in the summer, just stifling hot. But that's what it was. But yeah, so I thought I'd add them in, and hopefully they look good. I don't know what you guys think, but I don't know if other people have that sort of thing, or if it's just a UK thing, having portable classrooms. I don't know. Anyway, again, I'm getting distracted. What we're here for is to look at the build. So we're add some trees in, add some bushes. This is my thing. This is what I do, and I keep going back to the same set because I think they go well together. I've got obviously basic trees and basic bushes, and some a couple of flowers, tulips, azaleas, I think they are. And there was one other one which I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, we just basically keep putting them in, and then just a bit of tufts of grass just to bring it together, because that basic grass, I'm just not a massive fan. I feel like it just needs to be covered up all the time. I leave little patches, but I want to really focus on look at it. I want to be able to sort of zoom in at any point and just not just see a single tone with no textures, just something nicer like this. But yeah, anyway, we're sort of moving on from this. Obviously, we got to decorate the rest of it, and while I'm trying to do this, I was trying to think of, put myself in the position of when I was at school. Where did I go? What did I do? Like, you need to find places to go. So we've added some tables, some chairs and benches, so people got somewhere to hang out at lunch times, at break times, because some people will be obviously playing football, some people might be playing tennis, some people might be sitting in the communal areas. I don't know, but different people do different things, so it's important that we add the different options. Now here we're just adding a bit of ivy. I just wanted to do something because I feel like I don't do a lot to actually edit the buildings themselves, so I thought, why not just go put a little bit more ivy. One thing I would like to look at some point in the future is procedural object PO, because that looks like you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. I did play with it briefly, but I think it's a bit out of my reach at the moment. I feel like it might be something for the next series, or maybe sort of later down this series, just really get into that, because it looks like you can do a lot of cool stuff. But for the time being, we'll just put a bit of ivy on, make it a little bit of our own. It's nothing amazing, but that's certainly the next step. And again here, obviously, we're just filling in some of the blanks. It's just a tiny little gap between the path and the building, and you could leave it, but it doesn't look very nice. It looks plain boring. So add some bushes, add some flowers, and some obviously other bits in there. And just on the edge of the screen, you can see we've got like a little cafe restaurant type thing. I kind of envision that as being like the school cafeteria. It's not a school cafeteria, but in my mind it is. So that's what that is. In this top corner here, I kind of wanted to leave it blank. I wanted it to be like a playing field, but I didn't want it to be a plain green boring. So I thought I'd add some trees and bushes just to give it something else, something to look at. I'm not sure on it, to be honest. I think, don't get me wrong, I think it looks nice. I'm just not sure it fits for a school. I kind of see it as maybe it's part of the school land and they haven't got a use for it yet, so at the moment it's just trees. And I kind of feel like they probably wouldn't let the kids go there, but the kids would go there anyway, but they're not supposed to. So maybe at lunch times and sort of kids are bunking off lessons or going out at lunch, they'll be hiding around the bushes and doing stuff there. That's what kids do. You can see here we obviously added some more of these little benches with the trees in. I tried around with it and tried to make it look nice, and wasn't a massive fan. The main reason is I'm not a fan of the trees that actually come in the assets, so I decided I'm going to tweak it a little bit. After several attempts, we're going to get rid of it, and we're going to try and manually do it. So again, we've got these plants that people can sit on. We get our own trees that look much nicer. Much nicer. Obviously we need the bins, and obviously when we've got bins we need the litter and the trash and the rubbish bags, because that's what happens. I know in schools you've got the caretaker that will obviously go around and clear this up, but you know, perhaps it's towards the end of the day or the end of the week and I haven't got around to do it quite yet. It's just one of those things, I just want to add that story to it, just to give it like that lived in feel. So yeah, that's what we got. We got a few bits of rubbish there. These are the same tables, but obviously without the trees. And then I was gonna play around and see if I could find a tree to go in it. But all the trees I've got seem really big, and I couldn't find one that really would fit. So I eventually just end up leaving it as it is and just say, right, okay, chairs, tables and chairs, that'll do. So obviously we're just trying to finish off this area now, and we're using the move it, copy and paste feature, which is amazing. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It saves so much time, because once you've got the basics in, you just copy and paste, and then you just do little bits around, and you can just see we can just cover a really quick, big area in very little time. It's really good, and if you don't use move it, I really would recommend getting it if you can do. It's a great little mod. And it's, to be honest, I barely use it for what the full potential. It's got so much more, which I don't really go into. But yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Now, yeah, so this is pretty much it. Again, this area, I don't envision the students really supposed to be going there. It's just like extra space around the facilities that they've got. It was more to make it look nice than anything else. But yeah, unfortunately we are just about out of time for this one. So if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share. And obviously tell your friends about it too, because if you like it, there's a good chance they will too. But as always, I've been Ski Gamer. You've been awesome. Enjoy the cinematics. And well, thanks for watching. Goodbye. Oh, and just before I go, obviously we've had a few comments on the screen already, you've seen, and yeah, I do read every single comment you put on there. I'll reply to as many as I can. So far I think I'm up to 100%, but fingers crossed we keep it that way. But yeah, keep sending me ideas, because if I do anything that you suggest, I will obviously credit you, as you just seen on the screen. So yes, enjoy the cinematics. Goodbye.